On March 12, 2024, a Twitter user named StirringUse tweeted a link to a Google Doc containing 27 pages of allegations against Alex Kister. Alex Kister is the creator of the Mandela Catalogue, an analog horror series on YouTube. His channel had around 1 million subscribers at the time, and several videos with millions of views. Overnight, the discourse around this popular creator changed. Fans and fellow creators denounced him, and business partners and voice actors stopped working with him. What was he accused of? Was the document fake? Was Alex actually innocent? In this video, I intend to explore what happened to Alex, understand these online allegations, and give my thoughts on why this happened the way it did. The first document was written by Ven, also known as StirringUse. The tweet with the document link reached over 7 million impressions and got over 30,000 likes. Ven begins by alleging that Alex has exhibited predatory and manipulative behavior, including accusations of threatening self-harm and abusing power dynamics with fans. They had a relationship that lasted about 2 months. They never met in real life. Ven then provides a detailed account of the relationship, featuring screen caps of their conversations with Alex. In these conversations, Alex talks about how paranoid he is that his private information would leak to the rest of the internet. For the sake of Alex's privacy, I won't delve deeper into details, but a lot of very personal information was revealed that at times had questionable relevance to the document. This comprises the first 10 pages of the document. The second section involves another accuser, DB, another ex-partner of Alex. The criticism of Alex's contact with DB and Ven is similar. A significant emphasis is placed on the claim that Alex abused his power as a creator by using his fans as a dating pool and exploiting the fan-creator dynamic. The document then details how Alex created a Discord server where he invited selected individuals to discuss his gender identity issues. Since this server contained some users aged 14 to 17, one could argue that this was inappropriate for Alex to discuss sensitive topics there, including his thoughts about his gender identity. It's also worth noting that both Ven and DB were over 21 years old, while Alex was 19 to 20 during these events. The only time age is mentioned is when referring to 2 minors, aged 14 and 16, who were in the group chats with Alex when he made some inappropriate comments. This omission led many to mistakenly assume that Ven and or DB were minors as well. This misconception was later clarified in a tweet by Ven, but was never corrected in the original Google Doc. The author of the document finally states that they don't want Alex to have a career anymore and desire that no one supports him. They argue it can't be defamation because it's not driven by malice, but by anger. The release of the first document was coordinated with several other documents written about Alex being released the same day. These largely contain similar allegations, accusing Alex of bad behavior or being too open with fans. Most of these provided no screenshots and boiled down to, Alex wasn't a very good friend to me. Even though none of the documents called out Alex for grooming or pedophilia, this quickly became a popular narrative on Twitter. Many condemnations of Alex were based on this narrative, even though the accusers themselves never made that claim in the document. Ven later called Alex a groomer in a Tumblr post, which they later retracted. In the document there is a claim that Alex has a fetish for copying people's poses. A large element of the Mandela Catalogue is the concept of alternates, entities that copy humans. This quickly led to people creating a narrative that the whole of Alex Mandela Catalogue series was fetish content. Some people expressed disgust and others created memes about the claimed fetish. Some people decided that they would wait for Alex's response before deciding what to think about the situation. Some of them referenced allegations against other creators that had turned out to be false or overblown, urging people to wait and see what would happen. Some people were hoping that the screenshots would end up being fake, completely disregarding the content of the document and what it actually proved. They decided that the receipt being fake would be the only way Alex could be declared quote-unquote innocent. Similarly, many people pointed to the length of the document and the number of screenshots as proof of Alex's guilt, believing there was no way all that evidence could be wrong or fabricated. During the initial days, a lot of other analog horror creators distanced themselves from Alex. Fans declared that anyone who supported Alex would be blocked and shouldn't interact with them. Every voice actor, except one, initially quit the Mandela Catalogue. Retro Release Video, a company taking pre-orders for a physical copy of the Mandela Catalogue on VHS, announced they would be refunding pre-orders for it. Someone from the Mandela Catalogue Patreon Discord leaked supposed future content from planned episodes. This happened within the first day of the allegation. After the initial allegations, Alex and several of his defenders were doxxed. Alex eventually disabled comments on his YouTube videos and deleted his Instagram because of continued harassment and doxing. Then posted a Twitter thread condemning the doxers. On March 13th, the day after the initial allegations surfaced, Alex posted a brief response on his Twitter. I would like to make an initial statement in response to stirring news, then, regarding some false and baseless accusations made against me. They have infringed on my privacy and are using it to slander me. I will have a response with my own evidence soon. Some of his detractors would latch on to Alex's talk about privacy, interpreting it as Alex being angry that his wrongdoings were exposed, while others were now eagerly awaiting his response. On March 24th, Alex posted his own Google Doc, going over the main accusation document. He denies allegations of being a groomer or predator. He adds surrounding context for some of the tightly cropped messages, showing what was said before and after. The context around these messages show enthusiastic consent from DB and Venn. It also shows how Alex confirmed that they were comfortable with their communication. He clarifies that none of the communication with any minor was of a sexual nature and that he hadn't done anything illegal. He apologizes for burdening DB and the 16-year-old with his thought of self-harm and promises not to befriend more of his fans. He also urged people not to harass anyone over this and stated that he would continue his work on the Mandela Catalogue. The response garnered 1 million views and over 5,000 likes. Overall, the response was well received. Many saw it as a full redemption, while some criticized it for not going over all of the documents, instead deciding to focus on Venn's allegations. Venn initially said that they would respond to Alex's document. They also criticized Alex for not addressing all the documents. However, on April 8th, Venn posted an apology stating that they would delete their Twitter account and stop perpetrating the allegations. They also apologized for some of the wording in the document and for revealing private information about Alex. Venn also addressed and apologized for transphobic rhetoric, as well as turning others against Alex. After the apology, public opinion turned even more in Alex's favor. The popular narrative shifted dramatically from Alex is a predator to Alex disproved everything and is innocent after he released his response. The original accusation document contained enough information to conclude that Alex wasn't guilty of the severe allegations. Many who jumped to conclusions either didn't read the document or may have misunderstood its content. Part of the issue was that the document spanned 27 pages, much of which involved a vindictive ex-partner sharing private details of their relationship. If Alex had truly done something worthy of deplatforming, one would expect the document to focus on substantial evidence rather than irrelevant personal information. Alex's response didn't so much debunk the allegations, because there wasn't substantial evidence to refute. He acknowledged that discussing highly personal matters with fans, especially minors, was inappropriate. He provided additional context showing that the two adults he was involved with were supportive and that he ensured that they were comfortable. This context is important, especially considering that these individuals were older than Alex and engaged in consensual relationships with him. It's likely that those who switched to declaring Alex as innocent after his response hadn't fully read his statements or the original allegations. While his response was thoughtful, it shouldn't have been necessary, given that the original document lacked concrete proof of serious wrongdoing. There needs to be a nuance here. We must recognize that Alex is human. He's made mistakes and treated some people poorly, but that doesn't make him a monster. Unfortunately, this nuance often gets lost online, where people tend to view situations in black and white. Some supporters hoped that all the screenshots were fake and that Alex would completely disprove the allegations. This approach is just as uncritical as those who immediately condemned him. Both sides failed to engage critically with the information, instead choosing to believe what suited their initial stance. People tend to view such situations in binary terms, assuming that anyone who critiques or questions the accusers is automatically siding with the accused. In this case, it was particularly misguided, because some of Alex's biggest supporters had never seen his content and barely heard about him before. Meanwhile, those supporting the accusers were convinced that anyone supporting Alex, or even having healthy skepticism, were Alex superfans unconditionally defending him. What might explain these initial extreme reactions? One possible factor is the age and maturity level of the fanbase. Many of the most dedicated fans are relatively young. For younger individuals, seeing someone they look up to face serious allegations can be particularly challenging. They may struggle to reconcile the idea that a person they admire is not flawless, especially if they are still developing an understanding that all humans have imperfections. Furthermore, even if they read the allegations, understanding the complexities of adult relationships can be challenging without personal experience. This lack of context might lead to misinterpretations or heightened emotional responses. Moreover, the influence of social media can amplify these reactions, as rapid sharing and group dynamics encourage immediate responses. Notably, many of the most vocal detractors were deeply invested in the community, often creating fan art of the Mandela Catalogue characters. Their strong emotional connection to the content and its creator might have intensified their reactions, making the allegations feel like a personal betrayal. In this case, the main accuser tried to maintain plausible deniability by claiming they didn't label Alex explicitly, even though their statements led the public to believe otherwise. Venn posted and started answering questions on Tumblr instead of Twitter. In this Q&A, they stated they never called Alex a groomer and then proceeded to call him a groomer. I think this is an inherent problem in these callouts. Someone presents a large number of receipts and then never concretely states what the alleged wrongdoing is. This makes it difficult to disprove the allegations, and the goalposts can continually shift. Meanwhile, the public perception can be whatever the accusers want, without them getting any heat for false allegations. One would hope that the allegers didn't really understand the damage they could cause when they decided to do this. All of them were very young, and I hope that was naivety rather than malice that led them to do this. While Wen, the main alleger, removed their internet presence after they apologized, another one of the allegers is still to this day actively spreading these allegations. On top of losing voice actors and business opportunities, Alex's reputation is permanently damaged. As with all false allegations, there will always be people who hear about the allegations but not the correction. 6 months after the initial allegations, searching for Alex on Twitter still brings up posts from people who think he's a groomer or worse, as well as people still confused about the situation and what ended up happening. What can we do to prevent things from happening like this again? I think the most important thing is that we have to be skeptical and critically review any allegations. We can't just be blinded by sheer quantity, because a lot of it is often filler or irrelevant information there to poison the well. I understand we can't count on the average person going over long documents to find out what actually happened and if anyone is at fault. However, some streamers did a great job in this situation of going over the allegations, providing their insights. I would like to shout out Food Shops. She was one of the first people to pick this up and go over it on her stream. Turkey Tom also did a good walkthrough of the allegations, which is worth watching. Even if you don't have a platform yourself, you can still wait and see before passing your judgment and encourage others to do the same. Until we start being more careful with these kinds of situations, any public person is vulnerable to this.